Hello everyone and welcome back to another how-to tutorial. You guys have actually been asking how I create my branding strips for my notepad, so why not get it done today and check it off the list. Like, my video request list is so long, I'm trying to get through it as fast as possible. So this is going to be a very beginner friendly tutorial. If you've been following me for quite some time, everything on my channel is beginner friendly. So let's go ahead and hop into Canva and make us some branding strips. All right, so before we actually hop into Canva, let me go over the materials needed because you only need 3. You're going to need a paper trimmer. I use this one because it's a little bit more precise for me, and you can use something as small as the single trimmer. Those are pretty inexpensive. This runs around, I want to say like $30 or $40 for this on Amazon. And as always, everything that I use is listed on my Amazon storefront. Okay, so next you're going to need 110-pound cardstock. I will put a picture on the screen from the one that I purchased. I did get mine from Sam's because I have a membership and it's just cheaper for me to just go to the warehouse. But you can find 110-pound cardstock at your local Walmart, Staples, Office Depot, even on Amazon as well. And you're going to need a printer. Now I do have 3 printers, one for sublimation, which is at the bottom. The one at the top is for regular prints, and of course my 8550, which is cluttered with a bunch of stuff right now. But I do actually faithfully use both of them. So if you can't afford this one or you don't have this one, you don't need it. Okay, you can get even, you know, a basic printer. It could be a $30 printer, to be honest. The only thing that I would recommend is when you're getting into stationery, try to invest into an inkjet, because it's going to be cheaper to buy the little bottles of ink instead of a cartridge of ink. Those printers actually use a lot of ink, and you'll be buying, and the cartridges are very expensive. They're like $40. You can get like 4 or 5 bottles for $20 to $25, and it lasts a long time. So if you're like up in the air about, should I invest into an inkjet? Is it time? It is. If you're serious about your business, just go for it. It doesn't have to be, like I said, too expensive. When I first bought this one, it was $189. Of course, inflation hit everyone. Now it's probably around like $230, $240, which is insane. But it is a great investment. It saved me a lot of time and money, and you know, it's all about, you know, saving the money in the long run. So if it's in your budget, go ahead and just grab you one. And if you would like to wait for those memorial sales, you know, 4th of July sales, you know, wait. If you feel like something's coming up. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into Canva. Okay, so I know I just said you need like 3 things. You actually need 4. You need some type of glue tape or maybe a stapler to adhere your strip around your notepad. Okay, so you can actually get a pack of glue tape. I picked up a lot off of Temu. I think of like a 9 or 10 pack for like $5, or you can get it from Amazon around like $6 or $7. Glue tape is pretty inexpensive. So yeah, it's very convenient. So I would definitely go with glue tape instead of a stapler, because yeah. All right, you guys, we finally made it to Canva. Now the first thing we are going to do is we are going to create our project. So at the top left hand corner, you will see a purple icon here that says create. You're going to click on that, and we are going to go down to custom size. Now here we're going to change our units to inches, and my strips are a 10.4 by a 1.5. Now this is up to you on how wide or how slim you would like your strip, but if you want it to be the same exact size as mine, these are the dimensions that I use. So let's go ahead and hit create new design, and you can title this right now if you would like, or before you save it, you would just go up to file and just change the name here, save, and then you'll be able to kind of search for. Okay, so this is our blank canvas, and this is pretty much all we are working with. So just when you're designing your strip, just make sure everything is within the parameter of the dimensions that we inputted. So I'm going to go ahead and show you mine on the screen so you guys can see exactly how I set mines up. So I have, I want to say like 3 or 4 logos. Obviously I have my S. This is what I first started off with. This is what I changed it to, and it's always been Smith Signature Prints. Now you don't have to have all 3 here. Of course, use your logos, and then you want to actually name it whatever the strip is going to be on. Daily planner, notepad, to-do list, whatever that is. Under that, you're going to list how many pages and what size this notepad is, A5, A6, add that in there as well. And then you can add a little extra touch into say design and handmade with love. If you want to actually take this line, go ahead, feel free. You already know I'm not that kind of person. So if you like this layout, go for it. As you can see here, I have a lot of different strips for different occasions, different designs. Even here, I have different colors for notepads. And the reason why I do this is to match the aesthetics of what I'm putting the strip on. So before we hop into and show you how to do the fonts, let me go back to this design and give you another example. And this may, help you now or in the future. So let me just open up another page here. Say, for example, you download a PNG or you draw your PNGs, however the case may be, and you want your strip to kind of like be color coded to the actual design. So I'm going to drag in something. Let's say this little strawberry kitty cat, and you want the strawberry kitty cat notepad to be wrapped with the same color green, the same color pink, whatever the case may be. I'm actually going to bring a square over here just for an example. Okay, so say if this was, we're going to change it black. There's multiple ways you can do this. Okay, so you can actually select the PNG, and on the left hand panel, if this doesn't pop up for you, you can easily click on these up here. The little hex code icons or color icons is going to pop up over here. Now under photo colors, it's going to break down at least 5 colors or main colors out of the image for you to change the background to the same exact color hex code as your image. So say you want to bring out the green, you want a green strip, click on green. If you want a pink strip, click on pink. If you want, whatever the colors are over here. Now, say, for example, out of the 5 colors, there's maybe, let's bring another image in that has a lot going on. Let me remove the background. Let me delete this one. Let me see. Okay, so it has the 5 main colors here, which are a bunch of grays, very dark colors. But say, for example, you like this pink in the ears and on the cheeks, for example, and you want this to be the blush of the cheeks. So what you're going to do is you're going to select the square or select the background, and you are going to click on this little icon. If this doesn't pop up over here, let's just exit out so you can kind of see. So if I click on this, nothing pops up. But if you click on, edit or this little, color icon here, you're going to click on this little pick a color. You see that little pin drop thing? Hit pick a color. And you're going to hover over the part of the image that you want. So I want this pink here. Click it. It goes directly to pink. If I click the little icon again, let's say I like this green. Click it. It's literally that simple, and it actually brings out your notepad a little bit more when the aesthetics match perfectly to the image you're wrapping it around. This is just a little added tip, you guys. I like to add those little, little trinkets in there in my videos. But yes, let's go ahead and head over to Creative Fabrica so I can show you how to get your fonts. The text that I'm using is called Barbie Kawaii, and I did get this font off of Creative Fabrica. If you don't know what Creative Fabrica is, it's just pretty much a website where you can get like different fonts and art and, pretty much anything you would like when it comes to SVGs, PNGs, 3D printing, embroidery, graphics. It's a lot. It's kind of like like an Etsy, if you will. So you could just type in fonts here, and it's going to actually pull up a lot of things you could download. Now, you could download up to 10 items for free before it actually tries to charge you. They do not offer monthly subscriptions anymore. They only offer yearly for $47, which is completely worth it. So all you would type in is Barbie Kawaii if you want the same font as me, and it's right here. Barbie Kawaii. Okay, so let's go back to our blank canvas and just try to build something. Okay, now this is not going to be catered to my business specifically. What I'm going to build is going to be strictly for example, because I already designed mine. So what I would like to do is go back here and let's start from the back and move forward. So let's pick a background. Now the background does not have to be extravagant. It could be very simplistic. You can even keep it completely white and just focus on the logo and adding the notepad information in the middle. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go like all out, but just for you guys today, I'm going to go ahead and do so. So let me go over to elements. Now you're going to have multiple things on the left hand panel that you can actually include in your project. Now this is going to vary if you're on the pro version or on the free version. I am on the pro version, so I have access to everything. Okay, so for you to know what's included on pro and what's included on like free, anything that has a crown next to it is letting you know this is a pro or a Canva pro element. No crown next to it, completely free, and you could download and do whatever you would like. So in elements, I'm gonna type in let's say rainbow. Let's do watercolor. This is pretty. So what you can do when you find a background image is you can either drag it to the top left or top right and go like this and then duplicate and keep, you know, going like this across, or you could just right click the image and hit set as background and it'll kind of like fill everything in. Now you can always double click on the image, like double click it, and you can drag it to whatever section of the image you would like. Now I love the pink here and the orange and yellows, but then I also love the purple, blues, and pinks and greens. Let's leave it right there. Let's see. Let me zoom back in. That's pretty. I like that. So now that we have our background, we're going to go ahead and focus on the text. Okay, now let me just go back to this, my original. Now your text can be different fonts, different sizes, whatever you would like. You see how I have daily planner, a different font, and then I have regular regular font for the like pages and design handmade with love. So what you're going to go and you're going to click on text. Let's just grab and add subheading, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more, and I'm just going to type in daily planner, and let's just drag this on out. Let's try to zoom out just a little bit so I can make sure it's centered. Now we're going to drag our text completely in the middle, and you know it's in the middle when you see the cross. Okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of drag this here. I'm going to grab another, I'm going to duplicate that and just say 40 pages, or I could just say 50 pages. 50 pages. And then I'm going to put a line, and it's an A5. Okay. And I'm just going to drag and make this a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to duplicate again, and I'm going to say handmade with, or you could just say designed by, let's change it. Designed by, so we can even do that. Designed by Smith Signature Prints. And then now that we have everything, you can change around the fonts, and you would just click on it and go over here to font. And there are so many free ones available. And again, you can go to Creative Fabrica and download some if you don't like what you see, but they have a pretty large arsenal. So, you know, feel free to kind of go in and tinker with a bunch of different things. I love the Berry Lovely. I got this one off of Creative Fabrica as well. I have Bubble Lovers on there. Very cute. Comic Retro. That's pretty. And all of these right here are uploaded fonts from Creative Fabrica. So let's go with, this one is very simplistic, but then I like that one too. But let's just do this one and just hit Berry Lovely. I don't like that it's not kind of like bold. So let's back out. Let's do this part a different text. Let's go to daily plan. I like that text a little better, and just kind of play around with everything. Let's, that's pretty. That's pretty too. Like I said, this is for example. I'm not probably going to use this. I love the background. May use the background in the future, but I'm not going to use this text. So let me just go ahead and highlight everything and just kind of center it and bring it back into the middle. Now we can go ahead and add our logos on the left, right, or on the top even. Now let's go ahead and put her. I don't like to put my designs too close to the bottom or too close to the top because again, you're going to be trimming this and you may over trim or you may under trim. So just make sure you're kind of staying in the middle of the canvas. So I think right there is pretty cute. So before we actually group and save our project, we need to make sure that our measurements for the actual placement in the middle is, universal, or it's going to fit either the notepad or the daily planner. As you can see, my daily planner placement and my notepad placement, as far as measurement goes, is different. Okay, so my notepads is around like 3.5 inches, where my daily planners may run around 4 to 4.25 inches in width. So just make sure that you are, because everyone's daily planners and to-do lists, are around pretty much the same in measurements, but you just never know. You might want to do a miniature version of a planner or X, Y, and Z. Just make sure your wraps are actually fitting the planners that you guys are putting them on. Like I said, it doesn't have to be like extravagant, but it doesn't, you want it to like read your brand. So this is nice. I like it. I like the color. I like the background. Of course, I will probably change the color of the font, but this is just for example. So you can either group this together. You can just highlight everything and hit group. Now we're ready to actually export this and put this on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and print out 4 at a time. So we're going to hit share up here. Download and make sure it says PNG. We're not keeping, it's make sure transparent background. If it's checked, uncheck it. And we're going to hit download. So while this is downloading, I'm going to go back to home and we're going to open up another canvas. And we're going to hit create again. We're going to go to custom size and we are going to click. We're not going to do 8.5 by 11. We're going to do 11 by 8.5 because we want this to be in landscape. And let's hit create design. All right, so now we have a landscape sheet of paper. We're going to go ahead and locate our project, drag that in. Now, when it comes to dragging in a project, it's not going to drag in the same exact size that you created your project in. So you're going to have to size it back up and or down depending on your preference. So we're going to go ahead and drag this back out until we get to 10.4 by 1.5. So let's keep dragging, and 10.4 by 1.5 right there. So we're going to drag that completely to the middle. Okay. And we're going to duplicate, drag it down. Now you can do this like right on top of each other. If you have a very steady hand and you know that you're cutting a straight line, or if you even have guidelines here on the side, you can either put them like right on top of each other. I like to leave a space, especially when the background kind of bleeds into one another. When it's printed, you're not going to tell the difference where to cut. So I like to leave a little bit of white space. Just a tad bit to give me a little bit of, leeway, like where I need to cut. And then just going to duplicate again, drag it down, duplicate again. And I think I could fit 5 on here. Okay, perfect. I can fit 5. So we're going to highlight all. Let's go ahead and drag it to the middle again. Make sure it's centered. And we're going to group. It's literally this simple, you guys. Now, all we have to do is print this out and cut it and glue it to our notepad. So what we're going to do now is we are going to hit share. We're going to hit download and we're going to change our file type to PDF print. And we're going to hit download. Now, when it downloads, I am using Chrome. You don't have to actually click on the folder. Just click on the actual link here. It's going to pull up your print settings here. So I'm going to click on the print option here, and we're going to open up print using system dialog. If you're using a Windows, it's going to be like advanced print settings or something of that nature. So we're going to change our preferences to presentation mat. Now, since this is a beginner friendly / budget friendly tutorial, I'm not going to use my 8550 because a lot of you guys probably don't have it. And if you do, then just let me know and I'll go over that information down in description box, not the description box, the comment section, if you want to know those exact settings. So I'm going to click on regular prints, which is my 2800. And I'm going to select my default, which is matte bookmarks, because I'm using matte paper. It's the same, but my media and quality type is set to photo matte paper, and my quality is best. Okay, my paper size is exactly the same, 8.5 by 11. I don't change the layout, paper handling, or watermark. So now we're going to go ahead and head over to the printer, and we are going to make sure our print settings for our printer matches the print settings we selected on our computer. All right, for the Epsons, you're going to head over to settings. Then you're going to go over to so you're going to go over to settings. Then printer setup, which is option 2. Then we're going to go to paper source settings. Paper settings. We're going to leave paper size the same. And we are going to go over to paper type. Now you're going to have multiple options here, and again we're going to match the same as what's on our computer, which is you could do presentation mat or premium mat. So I like to do premium mat right here, and then I hit OK. Then I load up my paper and then I print. Now I know you're probably thinking, what's the reason why you should have to change the print settings on the printer to match? Because the printer doesn't know that you're printing in presentation mat on the computer. It needs to send signals to each other. Hey, I'm set to, plain paper, but you want me to print in premium mat. I'm set to plain paper. So if I'm set to plain paper, I'm going to print plain paper no matter what you have on your computer. And it tells the printer how much ink to distribute, how to slow down the process of printing the project so that it can give you that, the most saturation and the most vibrant look. That's why when you print plain paper, it shoots out really fast. It doesn't use a lot of ink. But then when you print photos, it takes its time. Even right now, while it's printing matte, you can hear it do, 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 do. It's literally going layer by layer. It's taking its time, making sure it gets every pixel out of, what you just created on your computer on your sheet of paper. So I know a lot of people like, okay, print settings aren't that important. They are so important, you guys. They're so important. Please do not think that your printer is going to print vibrant straight out the box. There's a lot of tweaking that goes into getting these prints to print perfectly. So again, trial and error, test out papers, test out settings, because what may work for me may not work for you based on the image that you're trying to print. This is what I mean. Look at the colors. Look how pretty that is. It's so pretty. Oh my goodness. It looks just like the, what's on my computer. This is what you want it to look like. It needs to look the same exact what's reading on your computer to print exactly on the sheet of paper. And this is so pretty. I like it. I'm definitely gonna have to change this around a little bit because that black on black is just not doing it for me, because I like a lot of color, but I love the background, I love the layout, I love the font. Very pretty. All right, so now we are ready to actually trim our strips. And so I am using this particular trimmer because it's more precise and it's much sharper than the standard, single trimmer that I have over there as well. But when it comes to these branding strips, since I'm using an 8.5 by 11, it fits perfectly around like to-do lists and notepads. But since my daily planners are like 8.5 by 5.5, it doesn't wrap fully around the back. So just keep that in mind. If you want this wrap to go fully around something a little bit larger than the paper size that you actually chose to create your wraps on, invest into much bigger paper, like a 9 by 12, if your printer can, handle it. When it comes to trimming this, there's multiple ways you can do this. Some people use guidelines, even though you can kind of go with the trim of the actual image. Some people still have issues issues cutting straight lines. I've been doing this quite some time where I can just eyeball it pretty easily now since I've been doing it quite some time. But if you need guidelines, add those guidelines in Canva, very light color so that it doesn't kind of take away from the actual strip that you're trying to cut. But honestly, these are for branding, so it doesn't have to be perfect. If you do kind of cut a little off, it shouldn't be to a point where the customer can notice that it's curving. But you know, if you trim a little bit, it should be okay as long as the placement is correct. All right, everyone. So this should be the finished look for your branding strips. And again, it's going to differ based off of what you are putting these strips on, like to-do lists, daily planners, notepads. Just make sure you're making the proper adjustments in Canva to get the proper measurements for what notepads you're putting them on. But this is how they should look when they come out. And then now you can go ahead and glue them on your notepads. And I'm just going to use this notepad for example today. I did not measure them correctly. Like, you know, how I told you before, I did 3.5. I did a little bit bigger because obviously I'm just doing this for an example for you guys, but let me just glue it on this notepad so you guys can actually see the whole process of me, you know, how I package my notepads. So everything should be placed directly in the middle, and you're just going to fold one side over the other. And then you're just going to flip it to the back, and then we're going to use our glue tape to add the adhesive so it does not move. All right, everyone. So this is actually going to conclude the tutorial. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope it was very beginner friendly for you guys to follow along. And I hope that you guys make so many branding strips after this video. If you really enjoyed it and you would like to see more like this, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any general questions, and I will talk to you guys on my next tutorial.
Thank you.